40 years, 4 decades, nearly half a century. That's how long the citizens of Greater Baton Rouge have chosen Richards Honda. A simple, sincere, and honest process.
Louisiana's oldest and most experienced Honda dealership for over 40 years, Richards Honda.
Hello, my name is Debbie. Welcome to Debbie's Bridal, a formal affair.
Come see the many great lines we carry in bridal, bridesmaids, mothers, flower girls, tuxes, and more. We also carry over 25 top designer lines in debutante gowns, Mardi Gras, pageant, and prom. Come meet me and my staff with over 30 years of bridal and pageant experience. Debbie's Bridal, a formal affair, Burnside and Gonzales, where service matters.
Creel Tree Service is a licensed and insured tree service providing tree and stump removal, topping, trimming, cabling, pruning, and fertilizing. We have free stump removal with takedowns, free estimates, affordable rates, and senior citizens discounts. Call 774-TREE. That's 774-8733. Get your yard ready for the warmer weather. If it deals with a tree, call me, Creel Tree Service, 774-8733. That's 774-TREE.
Our primary fundamental belief is that better ingredients, better pizza is quality, and that's what Papa John's is all about. Nobody does what Papa John's does.
Right now, get any large pizza with your choice of toppings, even our signature specialties, only $11. That's right. Order now at papajohns.com and get any large pizza with any toppings, just $11, only at papajohns.com.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Pelican Sports TV presents Pelican Radio. Get ready to mix it up with me, Tommy Krysan, and Chris Landry, weekday afternoons from 3 to 4 p.m. Pro sports, college sports, high school sports, and much more. On the Score 1210 a.m. and on the internet at thescore1210.com. We continue with Tigers Roar right here on Pelican Sports TV. We've taken a look at the Oregon team, and we certainly want to break down that LSU. That's it. Tigers Roar. Hey, Tigers Roar is about 90% LSU football. We certainly talk to you about that each and every week. We take a weekly run through the LSU athletic department where during the course of the last year we've talked women's golf, we've talked tennis, we've talked track and field, soccer, which we'll have some stuff on you later tonight. It's always good to take that run through the LSU athletic department. Certainly football gets a lot of attention. 92,000 plus show up and go sit in the stadium, and many more tailgate outside. But it's always good, Chris, to mention the other sports at LSU.
A lot of people work hard, no question, and are benefactors of the success of the football program and do a very good job of it. And certainly I sometimes feel for the fall sports because they really get lost in the shuffle with football season, but that's the way it works. The popularity of college football is just immense, and certainly one of the great venues and one of the great popular venues is LSU and the fan base there. So certainly a lot of excitement. You know, the build-up of this game and a marquee matchup like this of two highly ranked teams is going to make that excitement even greater. And of course we do air in Lafayette and New Orleans markets, and when appropriate we certainly mention the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns. Coach Mark Hudspeth, you know, they got a challenging schedule. They got some new uniforms going on over there, and we had him on the program back in the spring, and certainly wish him the best in his initial campaign as head coach in Lafayette of the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajun. And of course Bob Toledo's trying to create some excitement down in the Crescent City with Tulane. He's got a tall task in front of him. He'll open the season with Southeastern and Coach Mike Lucas. You can see the Mike Lucas show here on Pelican Sports TV on a weekly basis as well. So every now and then we got to dip into those markets a little bit, and we certainly appreciate the support, the emails, the phone calls that we get from those markets on Tigers Roar, and many of those people love to participate in the WJBO Pelican Sports TV Phones First postgame show. So that's always a good thing. Right now, as we do just about every week, we're joined by Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com. Brian will be heading over to Arlington and view the game firsthand. Brian, how you doing tonight?
Good, Tommy. How you doing?
We're hanging in there, Brian. For the first time since January 4th, we can say it's game week.
Yep, you're right about that. We can forget about all the off-the-field issues. I don't know if we can forget about it, but at least we can concentrate on a football game.
Brian, and obviously the number 3 Oregon, number 4 LSU. What do you see as the keys, Brian, for LSU in this matchup against Oregon?
Well, I think if you look at Oregon last year, Oregon is without a doubt a very good offensive team. They averaged 47 points a game. They scored at least 37 points in every game but 2 last year. And the 2 games that they scored fewer than 37 points were California, which they won 15-13, and Auburn, who they lost to 22-19. Now, if you look at those 2 games, in both of those games, Oregon averaged fewer than 3 yards per carry on the ground. They averaged 2.9 yards per rushing attempt against California and 2.3 yards per rushing attempt against Auburn. So I think that's the thing. You can't let the Oregon running attack, which means LaMichael James, you can't let him get loose and get going. So that's what LSU's got to stop. And I think talking to some of the players, they know that they have to tackle well. You can't have missed tackles. You can't, if you have LaMichael James going to be stopped for 2 or 3 yards, you can't miss a tackle, and he ends up gaining, 7 or 8.
Brian, what do you expect out of Jarrett Lee? We all know the story. We all know the spot he's in. He's been elected team captain for the week. What do you, in your observations, Brian Lazar, expect to see out of Jarrett Lee?
Well, I think the key is how well he gets protected. If the offensive line protects Lee and he has time to throw the ball, he's a pretty accurate passer. I think he can complete some balls. The big question is, will he get protected? Because if he's not, that's what we've seen from Jarrett Lee in the past. When he gets hurried, he can make bad decisions. He throws off the back foot. He may throw the ball up for grabs, and that's when bad plays can happen. So I think offensively, if LSU gives him some time to throw, I think he'll complete some passes.
Brian, tell everybody what they're going to get when they go to tigerbait.com.
Plenty of coverage, obviously, on the football season, which is just about ready to start, and we'll continue to keep monitoring what's going to happen as regards football recruiting. When the home games start coming up, there'll be a lot of visits, and we'll be getting information on those players. And,
of course, baseball team released their schedule for next year. Michigan and Notre Dame among the teams coming to the box.
Yes, baseball team released the schedule this week. It's not really a very strong non-conference schedule.
Right.
They have a couple Air Force and Alcorn State are coming in for split games the first weekend. Michigan and Notre Dame are coming in for split games one weekend. Appalachian State is in for a 3-game series, and Dartmouth is in for a 3-game series. So not a challenging non-conference schedule, but like everything else, you got to do well in the conference. And the LSU has both. South Carolina comes back on the schedule this year, and they lose Tennessee, so that's not a good swap.
No.
And LSU has to play both Florida and South Carolina on the road.
Brian Lazar, tigerbait.com. We appreciate it, Brian. Have a great trip to Arlington. We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay. Thank you, Tommy.
All right. It's Brian Lazar of tigerbait.com. Joins us just about every week here on Tigers Roar. Chris, let's get into the LSU breakdown. First up with the offense, here's Coach Les Miles and some of his players talking about the LSU offense and its preparations for Oregon.
I think there's a great cooperative attitude in that staff room. I think all the guys, Steve Ensminger, Frank Wilson, Billy Gonzalez have all really kind of chipped in, and I think there's a very comfortable working relationship there, and it's one where the skills that Steve Craigthorpe obviously have are not going to be minimized at all, and that they're going to still be very much a contributing factor to the things that we do on offense. And I just think it's going to be a very, I think Stud's really taking the responsibility to heart and doing a great job with it, and it's a certainly those adjustments will continue, but I think that I think the progress has been made. And I think Steve Craigthorpe will take a guy like Jarrett Lee, like anybody in there, going into their final campaign where they have a real great base knowledge of plays, and then now kind of refine it and fine tune it and make sure that he's operating at those margins give him the edge.
I haven't noticed any difference. I believe Cragthorpe and Stud have the same philosophy, and they're both working together. So it's not like Cragthorpe has relinquished all his ideas and philosophies. They're still working together, but Cragthorpe's doing a great job with the quarterbacks, and Coach Studs is doing a great job of embracing his role as coordinator.
It's interesting. We have to make an adjustment, but I don't know that it's necessarily different guys. You know, I think it's I think the responsibility at the tight end spot to block it and catch balls. Certainly, D'Angelo Peterson will be one of those guys that will have to block well and receive. Reuben Randall and Odell Beckham, a new name, are guys that we would expect would, have the opportunity at receiving balls. And we're going to run the football. And so our tailbacks will have to step in there and possess the ball and allow us to, push the ball on our opponents on the ground. So it's a different style of quarterback. It's still the same issue. Get the ball to the guy that has the opportunity to make plays for us and a little bit less mobile.
Chris, in just a little bit we'll get into Jarrett Lee specifically and the running back lines and all that, but overall your breakdown on the LSU offense.
Well, listen, I think it's a little bit of a question at this point. I mean, there's been a lot of changes, a lot of instability that we're going to find out on Saturday without question, because when you look at it, you got Jarrett Lee that's got an ability to throw the football effectively. The offensive line has been battling some injuries. You hope and pray for good health there. So Will Blackwell, you can't have somebody go out, particularly now in the first series like they happened against North Carolina. You could have some protection breakdowns. There's going to be some effort to try to break down some of LSU's protection schemes with second and third level blitzes by Oregon. So the ability to protect, but the ability, I think, offensively for success, Tommy, is going to be about running the football. If they're able to run the football effectively, stay in the 3rd and short, and when you're in 3rd and 2 or less, 3rd and 3 or less even, you've got more of the playbook available to you. If you're in 3rd and 5, it's a passing situation. It's a difficult thing to throw as effectively when you have to throw as opposed to when you have the right matchups to throw against. So I think that's going to be the key. I think you can help them out a lot with the run game. And the success with the running game is going to help alleviate some of the protection issues. This is a better run blocking offensive line than a pass protecting offensive line. So it's something to keep in mind. You want to stay out of those 3rd and long situations.
Let's take a look at a statistical comparison of LSU and Oregon during the 2010 campaign. Obviously, different teams with their personnel is quite different, but if you look at the stats, I mean, Oregon scored a lot of points. Oregon rolled up a lot of yardage. Oregon was penalized a lot more, though. Time of possession, you pointed out, Chris, that's not as important to Oregon as it is to LSU and Oregon's opponents. Pretty good 3rd down conversion rate there for Oregon. Well, maybe not pretty good. Good, we'll say. 4th down conversion rate, LSU a little better in that category, but obviously it's all about offense and points right there.
Yeah, that's I think it was Bobby Jones said about Jack Nicklaus. He plays a game of which I am totally unfamiliar. Well, in terms of offense, Oregon is a completely different dynamic, completely into the scale. It's different philosophies, folks. It's Oregon's, they want to be aggressive, attack. It's fast break basketball on grass is what it is. LSU certainly wants to be a little bit more physical up front, want to be a little bit more ball control, a little more conservative, going to win with their defense and special teams. That's the philosophy. It was last year. It'll be again this year. There's going to have to be a little more playmaking ability out of this LSU offense, as I mentioned a little earlier, for them to have the same one-loss record as they did last year. Because I don't know. I think this is a team, as I look at them, and we'll see as it goes along, a lot of expectations for LSU. I don't see a national championship caliber team personally, but that has a lot of, there's a lot of things that go into that. But certainly offensively, I think this team has to be quite a bit better to achieve even the same record as they did last year with a difficult schedule. But this Oregon team offensively very explosive, certainly got their weaknesses, but can you know, if they get a lead, it certainly helps their defense out a great deal because it makes you one-dimensional. This is a game that LSU, I expect it to be close. We've talked about it on radio all week. A close game is important. LSU doesn't like to be in a situation where they have to throw a lot. They've come from behind, but they've come from behind when the game was still in balance.
Reachable,
it's not absolutely not the 21 points, 17 points behind. That's not a formula that LSU wants to be in. I think Oregon certainly it feels a little more capable with their style of being able to score anytime, anywhere.
Chris, LSU's been playing football for over 100 years, right? And certainly maybe 80 and 90 years ago, we didn't have Tigers Roar and post-game shows and radio shows and internet. But certainly the quarterback position has always been the #1 topic of LSU football. Going back as far as you and I mean, I can remember, you know, Burt Jones, and then right after Burt Jones with Carl Otis Trimble and Ensminger, Woodley. I mean, we could go on. And it's always talked about. This year, probably more than ever, especially in the last 2 weeks with everything that has transpired off the field and how that relates to on the field. Here are some comments by Coach Miles and the players talking about, guess what? The LSU quarterback, and in this case, obviously, fifth-year senior Jarrett Lee. Here's some comments from Coach Miles and the players, and then we'll talk about it after.
Yeah, it was big, you know, and that's just like I said a while ago, it's just one of those deals where you just got to step in and make plays whenever your number's called. And I feel like as a quarterback, each and every week you got to prepare as if you are the starter, because you never know when your number's going to be called. And you know, it's just something as a quarterback, and if you want to be a good one, it's just when your number's called, you got to, and your opportunity is called, you just got to make plays.
I think in the 3 games that he played very significant football in a year ago, he threw the touchdown-winning pass at Florida. He was responsible for the drive that came down at the end of the game to beat Tennessee, and he made a 3rd and long play late in the Alabama game that, in my opinion, would depict a guy that played in very pressure situations and, in fact, can play with poise. I think there's a every play responsibility at the quarterback position that he's really talking about, and I think it's one that going into his final campaign that as the new starter, he's really looking forward to, you know, having a complete year.
I think Crackthorpe spent a lot more time on mechanics and just quarterback play. You know, his diagnosis obviously was tough for him and his family, but now he's going to have the ability to strictly be a quarterback coach. He doesn't have to worry about calling an offense or thinking of what plays or game plan we're going to run in the week. He can focus on Jarrett and Zach and Jordan and really help them become better quarterbacks.
Not much, not too different. You know, he runs the same plays that Jordan ran. You know, those guys swap out back and forth. So it's really about us having his back, just as we have Jordan back.
I think there's a strong commitment to want the degree from LSU, that he wants to, upon his time, be remembered as the quarterback or as the player or as the student athlete from LSU. And I think that decision, in the view of what could have been transfer and the view of what could have been in another school, just didn't match his friends and the experiences that he's had here, difficult and good, and that his abilities would serve LSU and none other. And that was a very unselfish. You know, few men have that capacity to be a great teammate and to be loyal to a school, and then, you know, and now given an opportunity, in my opinion, to come do the things that he came to do. I'm pretty excited for him.
I didn't come here to LSU to transfer. I came here to play. I came here to, you know, win football games and just be a part of a great university. And I'm around a great group of guys, a great staff, and so I'm just excited to still be here and just looking forward to this season and excited about it.
Chris, we hear it all the time at all levels of sports, from the youth leagues to the prep ranks, collegiate, pro. when you're not one of the starters, you're not one of the guys, and it's hard to do, especially at the younger ages, but you have to prepare yourself and be ready for when you do get an opportunity, however that opportunity may come your way, so that you're in the best spot to give your best and help your team and your teammates. That's exactly what has transpired here. Jarrett Lee has been getting that opportunity. That has hit, that doorbell has been rung. It's now his turn. Here's a look at some stats from Jarrett Lee on the 2010 season. Only a pair of TDs and 1 pick. A lot of big plays against Florida, including that a touchdown to win the game. Key throw, as you pointed out, Chris, against Alabama. He also did some good things in the Tennessee game. So he's been out there. Fifth-year senior. He's a mature guy. And, I'm thinking we're going to see some good things out of Jarrett Lee Saturday night. Is he going to play a perfect game? Is he going to become the front runner for the Heisman? Probably not, but I think we'll see some good things.
Well, I think so as well. I think certainly he has the ability to do it. And, the challenge is you always have to have, at all times, 2 quarterbacks ready to go. At all times, I stress that, because you're 1 play away. It's not like if you can make some adjustments on the offensive line and defensive line where it's heavy rotation, particularly on the defensive side of the ball and sub packages. You can make some of those adjustments. The quarterback position, the backup has to take mental reps, meaning he has to know that game plan and be able to come in at a moment's notice because he's 1 snap away from being a starter. It's also, I think, an important time to bring up the fact that the backup quarterback now is Zach Mettenberger. They haven't really done a very good job of getting him ready to go as a distant number 3 guy. You're 1 play away, you're 1 snap away from him getting in the game. And getting him caught up to speed is quite a challenge. So you hope and pray for good health for Jarrett Lee, and they're very fortunate that they have him. In the piece there, I thought Les did a good job of explaining, and you could see the young man. He had every opportunity, every reason, and probably every LSU fan said, hey, I wish he'd go. We don't need him. Thank goodness that he didn't. He had more respect for the program and what was going on than most around did, because he is certainly going to be a valuable commodity and a need for them. They'd be in a world of hurt without him. So Jarrett Lee's experience, I think, will serve him well, and now you've got to be prepared to move on if something happens to him.
Running backs and offensive line, the line will be a key. They've had some bumps and bruises in the fall camp, and Josh Dworsik going to have surgery, won't be around for at least a couple weeks, if not longer. Here's some comments from Coach Miles and the players talking about the running backs and the offensive line.
Yeah, Spencer Ware has done a great job. He can run the ball as well as he can catch it. And I think he brings a lot of versatility to the offense. Mike is the speed back. He can cut on a dime. He's hard to catch in open field. And then you got Alfred Blue. He's more of a downhill guy. So the combination of the 3, it brings a lot to the offense.
I think it's going to stay the way it's been. I think you'll look at Ware, and you'll look at a number of guys there that can step on the field and give us snaps and play very, very well.
Right now there's 3 of us for 2 spots. It's T-Bob and Lyle and I. We've all kind of been rotating, so we'll see how it works out this week.
For those of you that don't buy a program for Saturday night, number 18, that's been a little internal thing with LSU that started with Jacob Hester, on to Dixon, on to Richard Murphy. That'll be worn by Brandon Taylor from Franklinton. That's kind of a little internal honor that LSU does. Tyrann Mathieu will wear number 7, the number that Patrick Peterson used to wear. His number 14 will go to another Franklinton guy, Terrence McGee. And number 11 will be Spencer Ware. And when we talk about running backs, the conversation is going to begin with Spencer Ware.
Well, he's the best back on the team, certainly from a skill set standpoint. He's got great versatility. He's got great run vision and instincts. He runs with power, good pace. He's got quickness. He's got change of direction. He's got some make-and-miss ability, and he's got really good hands out of the backfield. So he's going to take that role as the main guy. Now, I think that they would ideally, with Leeds, utilize Alfred Blue and Michael Ford as physical one-cut runners. Both have good speed, but they're one-cut cut type runners. They're downhill runners. What does that mean? They're not great in the open field, but they've got good speed. They attack the line of scrimmage very well. I think those guys are going to be really important factors in the offense. We'll see in time Terrence McGee's and what type of an effect that he could possibly have but I think there's no question they've got some good depth there at the running back position, but every back presents a little different dynamic in terms of a skill set, and it's going to be important because this is a run-first offense, and it's a downhill run game, and utilizing all those different guys for freshness, keeping backs fresh, and for certain situations is what they want to do. You know, you always want to get the ball in the hands of your playmakers, but you know, what LSU likes to do with their downhill running game is to eat clock, move the change, be physical up front, and they've got some backs that can do it, and yet in Ware some explosiveness, and with McGee some explosiveness that could take advantage and make some big plays. All of that just fuels and setups good opportunities for the passing game.
And the offensive line is going to be an important segment of the game Saturday night, no doubt.
Well, listen, it's a deep unit. We've talked all off season about, well, there's 6 starters. Well, now they're back to 5 starters. Josh Dworczyk is injured, so you got Falk and the A-Bear left tackle, A-Bear at left guard, and P.J. Lonergan at center, and Will Blackwell, who we've seen there starting at right guard, and certainly right tackle is Alex Hurst. And you know, if there were to be an injury at guard, then they'd likely move Hurst inside the guard and put Greg Shaw at tackle. They've had injuries at backup guard, and so I mean, guys like Evan Washington and Josh Williford and Matt Branch have been banged up. So health is a big issue here. Certainly Blackwell is capable of playing center, so keep that in mind. If Lonergan goes out, T-Bob can't move to center now because T-Bob's starting at guard. So now you lose your center capability. So Blackwell can go in and play. One of the things that Greg Sudar and Les Miles believes, and it's a good philosophy, they really cross-train their offensive linemen so that you can play both guard positions, play guard and center. Right tackle can play guard. So they feel like they can get their 5 best available players on the offensive line at any time, and obviously injuries are going to make that a little bit more challenging, but it's what their challenging goal to do is.
And also the freshman from Redemptors in Baton Rouge,
Leo Collins is going
he could see some snaps.
He's going to absolutely see some snaps. There's going to have to with these veteran guys backup roles being injured. There's no question, and he's going to be a guard. He's going to end up being a starting guard next year. So if you're wondering, well, why is he not playing tackle? Folks, you've got, it's part of cross training. You learn the position better. Offensive line blocking seems better from guard, and it helps to protect them a little bit. Getting him ready, he'll get some snaps this year, no question, and then he'll be a starting guard next year, and at some point may move out to tackle probably by sophomore year.
The receiving core, Ruben Randall will lead that up. Russell Shepard not on the trip due to the ineligibility with the NCAA compliance issue. It'll be Ruben Randall and then a cast of new names and faces for Tiger fans.
Well, you know, it's going to be interesting because you've got James Wright and Kadron Boone. Now, Kadron Boone is going to be the slot guy, so he's working at the slot position. So when they go to 3 wides, he's going to be the inside receiver. He's going to be one of the inside receivers if they run a double slot set, which they don't do a lot of. But don't be surprised if Odell Beckham not only plays but potentially starts. That is a distinct possibility at the Z position. He's been working out at the outside receiver at the Z position. It's going to be either he or James Wright, but it could very well be him. As in their 2 wide receiver set, it'll be Randall and either Wright or Beckham, and whether who starts really doesn't matter. They're going to see a lot of reps at the Z position, and certainly their 3 wides will certainly see Kadron Boone and what he can do. Jarvis Landry is somebody that may factor in at some point, but depth is hurt without Russell Shepard's availability, which may not be there for a nice chunk of this season, actually.
And certainly there'll be new names and faces when it comes to special teams for LSU. Here's Coach Les Miles and player comments pertaining to the LSU special teams.
Drew Allman, I expect, will be, you know, very competitive. He'll handle our kickoff and our field goal extra points, and I think he'll be really just kind of ready to do that and really compete with any in the country and maybe as good as we've had. So we'll kind of have to wait and see on that. Brad Wing and DJ Howard will handle the punting, and you know, with an edge certainly to Brad Wing.
You know, a guy that, you know, pretty much everyone's pretty much heard of now is Tyrann Mathieu. You know, I think he's going to be great with the ball in his hands. you know, and Morris as well. You know, Morris is extremely fast, and you know, those guys, I'm looking for great things in the return game from them.
I'm looking forward to it a lot. You know, I haven't done it since high school, so it'll bring back some memories.
I think you can be comfortable with Tyrann Mathieu returning, a special athlete with some special skills.
No question about it. Ron Books, Mo Claiborne, Tyrann Mathieu, Ruben Randall. There's no shortage of return guys with make-or-miss capabilities, even some young guys that could develop down the road as well. So athletes in the return game and coverage units is something that they have. Of course, Drew Alamon, as Coach mentioned, he's got real good versatility, averaged 63 yards a kickoff last year, gets good depth and hang time on his kickoffs. And listen, I think he's got, well, his angle approach is very crisp and clean, and his get-off time is very good. I think certainly just how do you handle like a golfer? You know, you've got game, but can you handle it under pressure at the moment? I don't have any reason to suspect that he won't, but until you do it, no one's ever done it until you actually do it. The punter position with DJ Howard, Brad Wing. Brad Wing's got a little more leg, a little more explosiveness. Can the consistency and the handling time be there? That's certainly going to be key. Really, you cannot have the inconsistency there with really good athletes on coverage units. You want to be able to maximize that with good hang time and good positioning on your punch.
And certainly, as we mentioned, a couple of new guys there. We'll have to see what happens. Chris, two-part question for you. We threw the same question at you pertaining to Oregon. It's like a rerun here. What is for the LSU team, what is the best strength that you see, and then what's the glaring weakness?
Well, the strength I see is their ability to match up defensively, both up front and their ability to create and penetrate and generate some havoc up front in the A-gap. And bubble the run, much like what Auburn did. They've got the potential to do that. Will they? We'll see. That's what the game's all about. And then their ability to match up on the back end. I think certainly their ability in a lot of what's going to be their base. Their base is not going to be the most utilized formation. It's going to be their dime package. You'll see them in a lot. Tyrann Mathieu is going to be in the dime position, and Simon and Claiborne is going to be the outside corners. Their ability to match up on the outside is a big advantage. So I think their ability for those guys to tackle pretty well in space is important as well. So that's really important. I think the weaknesses I see it is playmaking ability on the offensive side could be a problem.
Certainly, we also want to get, Chris, what you see as the keys for success for this LSU football team. Hay is pretty much in the barn, certainly as far as Tigers Roar goes. LSU still has some preparations before traveling on Friday. They'll stay at the Omni Hotel in Fort Worth, not real far from the stadium. But Chris Landry, NFL scout, Fox Sports football analyst, your keys to victory for LSU.
Look at this, you know, offensive keys. You know, be aware of the second and third level blitzers. What's that? I mean, Oregon's going to come after them with linebackers and safeties and corners blitzing. So stay out of those third and long situations are key. 2, protect, possess, and finish. You got to protect the football, and you've got to possess the football enough to limit Oregon's offensive possessions, but that's not enough, Tommy. You got to finish. You can't trade 3s for 7s. You've got to punch the ball in the end zone. So that's the finish part of it. Third thing, you've got to manipulate the safeties with the run game to open up the seam route for the tight end, and D'Angelo Peterson, I think, is going to be a big factor. Really, you got to put him in the receiver category and his ability to have an effect in the passing game. Listen, time of possession is more important for LSU than it is for Oregon, but it's critical in that it rests your defense, but it's more important, again, that they finish drives. I think another key thing to look for is first and second down success is critical. It creates more manageable third down situations. I think that's important. Another key stat to look for in this game, it's the SPHH. What is that? Offensively, you've got to keep the total of 10, under the total of 10. Sacks, pressures, hurries, and hits on the quarterback. If they do that, they'll be in good shape. If it gets into that 10, 11 area, could be trouble. And I think key matchup is you've got to be able to move free safety John Boyette from the hash to get him outside to cover Ruben Randall. You've got to attack that enough to force him out of the middle of the field, to open up the middle of the field in the passing game. So this really loosens things up in the passing game as well, because if you don't attack it, then all of a sudden he just begins to creep a little bit more into the running game, and then you become less effective there. You get into third and long situations, you're not playing this game as smart as I think you need to play it.
And defensive keys to victory from the other side of the ball for LSU.
Well, listen, hold firm against line splits. I think that's important. And you don't want to adjust to the huge line splits. They're going to get better angles, but you have to hold your point of attack. You've got a physical advantage. You've got the ability to play off blocks. You've got to do it. You've got to do it well. You've got to do it consistently for 4 quarters. Penetrate the A gap, bubble that run, spill that run outside is what you need to do. Stem your front. Stemming is taking your defensive front, moving a lot pre-snap. You want to make particularly the left side of that offensive line and that quarterback position guess a little bit as to what you're doing. Do a little bit of that, I think, is going to really be important. Bring your feet as a tackler. We talked about that in the early part of the show. You know, you can't lunge here. In some games, you can get away with it. In this one, it's going to get you beat. It's going to make a 10-yard run be a 20-yard run, a 2-yard run be a 10-yard run. You've got to bring your feet as a tackler. Snap and wrap as a tackler is what we teach, and you've got to get it done. Auburn did that very well in the championship game. You've got to control the A-gap. We talked about that. That controls their offense. The 3 techniques have to spill the run outside to the pursuit. That's going to be key. Don't fear the veer. What does that mean? Oregon's a man-blocking team. They come after you in man-blocking, but if they have trouble blocking the defensive end, they'll go to more zone block and some veer look stuff. You can't be overly concerned about that change. You've got to hold the point of attack well, not really overly adjust to it. Don't change your assignment techniques. Just be sound against that. You know, success early is not enough. What do I mean by that? Well, you can make some big plays defensively, be playing it very well. It's a close game. But close games with this team that is so explosive offensively, you've got to make plays on a consistent basis defensively. You might do a good job on 20 snaps, and then it's the 21st and 22nd snap that it gives up a couple of big plays, and all of a sudden you're down 7, 10, 14 points. So that's really important as well. And I think special teams, I'm going to take the reverse for LSU, as I said, for Oregon, and it just makes sense. And Oregon's goal on special teams is to not lose the hidden yardage to LSU in the return game. LSU, I think, has to help their offense out, has to generate some first downs through the return game. If they can get into plus territory, into Oregon's territory in the return game, they will likely be more aggressive and in more of an attack mode on the offensive side. Back in their own end, I think they're going to be reticent to do so unless they absolutely have to, because they're going to be afraid to turn the ball over.
This football game is going to end at about 10:30, a quarter to 11, barring anything crazy, on Saturday night. And minutes after this game ends, minutes after you see 0-0-0 on the clock, it's the Phones First WJBO Pelican Sports TV post-game show. Live on WJBO Radio in Baton Rouge, 11:50 a.m., streaming at WJBO.com. iHeartRadio. If you're going to Dallas, get the iHeartRadio going on your phone. You'll be able to listen to what's happening back in Baton Rouge. And, of course, it'll also be on Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, PelicanSportsTV.com, immediately following the LSU-Oregon game. The TV portion of that will be replayed right here on Pelican on Sunday morning. When we come back, we're going to take our weekly run through the LSU Athletic Department. This week, a little LSU soccer for you. Pelican Sports TV's Carter Bryant speaks with senior goalkeeper Mo Isom. When we return, spread the roar. You're watching Tigers Roar on Pelican Sports TV.
Hello, my name is Debbie. Welcome to Debbie's Bridal, a formal affair.
Come see the many great lines we carry in bridal, bridesmaids, mothers, flower girls, tuxes, and more. We also carry over 25 top designer lines in debutante gowns, Mardi Gras, pageant, and prom. Come meet me and my staff with over 30 years of bridal and pageant experience. Debbie's Bridal, a formal affair, Burnside and Gonzales, where service matters.
Creel Tree Service is a licensed and insured tree service providing tree and stump removal, topping, trimming, cabling, pruning, and fertilizing. We have free stump removal with takedowns, free estimates, affordable rates, and senior citizens discounts. Call 774-TREE. That's 774-8733. Get your yard ready for the warmer weather. If it deals with a tree, call me, Creel Tree Service, 774-8733. That's 774-TREE.
The family dental practice of Dr. Farrell Fruget Jr. and our highly trained staff are dedicated to providing care and treatment to our patients of all ages in all aspects of dental care. 23 years of experience and advanced training in cosmetic and restorative dentistry, TMJ, and treatment of snoring and sleep apnea allows Dr. Fruget to assist you in achieving the best in dental health. Call us today at 292-9700 to schedule your initial evaluation, because we know how to make you smile.
Hi, I'm attorney Kerry Bryson. My law firm focuses specifically on helping people try to solve their IRS tax problems. Lately, so many new out-of-state companies are popping up claiming that if you send them money, they can resolve your IRS problems. Well, what happens if they don't? Do you hire an attorney? Maybe you should start with a local attorney that's already handled hundreds of IRS cases right here in Louisiana. When you hire the Bryson Law Firm, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some out-of-town high-pressure salesman. You'll meet with us in person at our office right here in Baton Rouge. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and we'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it'll cost. So if you're hiring a company to resolve your IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, check their reputation first, then call me, Kerry Bryson, or go to BrysonLawFirm.com. If you're a Louisiana resident and you have an IRS problem, hire a Louisiana attorney, Kerry Bryson.
It's time for our weekly run through the LSU athletic department here on Tigers Roar. Next week, we're going to have the second part of what you're going to see tonight. Next week, we're actually going to have a penalty kick shootout challenge with LSU Soccer's senior goalkeeper Mo Isom and Pelican Sports TV's Carter Bryant. We've seen him try to throw the weights. We've seen him try to play tennis, try to hit a softball. You got to give Carter some credit. But that's going to be next week. What we got tonight for you? Look at we got some kind of activity going on there. I don't know what you call that, but that's our Carter Bryant of the Pelican Sports TV crew doing. I don't know what that is, Chris. You have any? Have you ever seen that, Chris?
No, I haven't. I'm a little bit afraid to pursue this any further, quite frankly.
But anyway, he took some time during the course of doing this feature. Again, you'll see the shootout kick next week, the penalty kick shootout, I should say. Right now, here's the interview with senior goalkeeper, one of the most popular female student athletes on campus, senior Mo Isom.
Hello, Pelican Sports. We're out here at the LSU Soccer Stadium, where I am with one of my all-time favorite LSU athletes, who I've been friends with since
a long time.
Yeah, I know, since we both came in here as freshmen. Miss Mo Isom. Mo,
hello.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me out here.
So you have a big season lined up. Y'all start off the season 1-1. What do you see? Where's some realistic expectations for this team this year?
I mean, realistic expectations, we're looking at certainly capturing the SEC West. That's a bar that was set a few years ago, and we are looking to reach again. We're gunning to win the SEC. I mean, that's our number one focus, a deep run in the NCAAs. But, you know, altogether, we want a cohesive season. You know, we want this team to click. We've been working so hard together. The chemistry is amazing. We're just ready to have fun and show off for the fans, you know, have a good time out here. So.
And a big thing for the fans this year is that we have a beautiful facility out here this year. So just tell us about the process of getting a stadium setting here.
Right. It's been such an evolution coming in, you know, 4 years ago to where the stadium was, where the facilities were then, and the progress that they've made throughout the years. This new stadium is fantastic. It's going to be such an amazing environment for fans. We already have one of the best environments in the SEC. I mean, the fans are right there, down there on the field, right behind the coaches. They can hear the coaches' direction. They can hear the players. And this just takes it to the next level. It matches all the rest of the amazing complexes and facilities at LSU. And we're proud to be Tigers playing on this field. In the off-season, in the spring, I was still recovering with the Achilles, but getting back in shape, working hard. In the summer, we have a lifting and a running program that we work on, but I also got in with the football guys, the LSU football team, started lifting with them, running with them, doing a lot of agility, sprint work, explosiveness, and that just helps not only for speed improvement and strength, but just the mentality. I mean, they're insane, and it's so much fun to train with them, and it takes it to the next level. So I'm ready to get out here and have a great season. I feel great.
So what are some personal goals for you? I mean, you just mentioned that you had the big injury last year, which sort of sidelined you throughout the season.
Right.
How are you feeling going into this year?
Right. Well, it's a unique situation because last year I was down and out. I was hurt, and I was playing okay when I could, and it was almost just sort of like hopeful, you know, that I'd get my time in. You know, personal goals. I want my senior season. You know, I want to dominate. I always gun for the shutouts. I want to support my back line. I want to organize strong distributions. You know, I want to play my game, and I certainly plan to.
All right, and you're on the field, you're a great player, but off the field, there's a lot of different things you do, and one of which is your deep faith. So just talk about this special vow that you've made this year that sort of has boys drooling throughout South Louisiana.
Well, I don't know about the boys drooling, but we serve a fantastic king. I'm a Christian, and I'm unashamed. That's where my heart is. That's where my soul is. That's where my identity is. So the beginning of this year, I felt called into a year-long intimacy fast. So physical intimacy, emotional. I haven't dated. I haven't even talked to guys. Haven't kissed a boy. I call it kissless till next Christmas, and I'm going 8 months strong. So, you know, it's been an unbelievably fulfilling experience to take focus off of something that seems so important at this point in our lives, and to put it into my faith, to put it into learning more about Christ, digging into the Word, and just loving on other people, rather than spending that attention worried about the love I'm receiving from men. I focus it on serving others, and I started a blog, www.moisom.com, and really I just, at the beginning of it, started it to share my testimony, and it turned into this teaching tool, and it really turned into this amazing facilitator for individuals to reach out, individuals who were ashamed of things or embarrassed or hurting, or just for a little encouragement towards me. But anytime we can step outside of our own lives and work to serve others and love others and just help them, it's fantastic, and this year has really provided that. So.
How can fans get involved? Tell them some other things to get involved with the team.
Right. We have so many fan-oriented games this season. We have a huge stretch at home. There's priority point games where students can come out and they can get points for football tickets. There are fundraisers. I mean, we're doing Locks for Love. We have the Pet in the Park Day where you can bring your dogs. There's going to be fireworks on September 9th at our home opener. It's really just an awesome fan environment. There's club teams that come in with young girls. Families can come. There's so many activities. There's so many things to do, and really there's great soccer to watch. So I would encourage everybody to come out and cheer on the Tigers. It's going to be a really great season.
Real good work there, Coach Brian Lee's soccer team. I think they got a pretty good goalkeeper.
They do. You know, what a great, impressive young lady and great representative of LSU. So got a great message and obviously a great athlete. And well, I'm thrilled that we got the attention and publicity they deserve, because I don't think enough people are aware of the special people and the special athletes that are on the campus at LSU. Here's a perfect example of just one of many.
And don't forget, next week we will have part 2 of the look at the soccer team, and it'll be that penalty kick shootout challenge with our own Carter Bryant and Mo Isom, the senior goalkeeper for the LSU Lady Tigers soccer team. Speaking of Carter Bryant, he gave me an interesting little nugget I was unaware of here during the last break. Oregon's going to wear all black uniforms, I'm going to assume with a white helmet. Of course, LSU is the home team in this game, so they're going to do the white jersey, gold pant thing, but all black uniforms. I know it's not the uniform, it's who's wearing them, but just wanted to throw that out for you on the game as we
they have the most color combinations of any team in the country.
Yeah, with
they
Nike
can wear
and Phil Knight.
They can wear the black, the green, the white helmet. So
gray,
who knows what will happen?
Gray, gold.
They got a little bit of some of the green on the black and the gray on the green and the gray on the black. So there's no telling.
They got a large room for uniforms.
They do. They absolutely have. I think there's like literally 42 different combinations when they go through all the different things. So.
For the first time since 2005, when LSU played back-to-back games at the Georgia Dome over in Atlanta, they're playing back-to-back games in a same road venue, Cowboys Stadium. Of course, that was the site of the Cotton Bowl victory over Texas A&M. Here's some comments from Coach Miles about playing in Cowboys Stadium.
again, I think we put a lot of work and effort into, getting a degree and putting ourselves in position to play, quality football games, play for championships. And there's so many things that can derail and distract the team along those lines. I think we're all really looking forward to being downhill at a football game and looking forward to playing on a Saturday night and in a big time venue and on national television. I think our football team is ready for football.
Definitely, I think the intensity is up. We've seen it this morning, when all of us was walking to class, we just ready to get after it. We've been through a lot these last 2 weeks, but it's really going to test our maturity and see what we really could do as we come together as a team Saturday.
We'll get in the stadium Friday evening very briefly, but I think we're fortunate to having played there before. I think we will try not to strain our necks and look at the magnificent jumbotron that spans the field. That being said, I think that our guys enjoy playing in big-time venues. I can't imagine that anybody that played there wouldn't be excited to play there, and I think it'll be an opportunity at playing our best effort.
I don't even know if you can actually maintain a level of focus, in that stadium, because you got the huge, jumbotron thing, and it's sitting right above your head. My thought process was, what if that thing fell? You know what I'm saying? How many people would, I'm just like, but it's a fun place to play.
Here's a question that always comes up in August and right before any college football team begins their season. Obviously, when we're speaking of LSU, what true freshman from the signing class last February do you expect to see on the football field making a contribution against Oregon?
Well, as things kind of shaped out through, spring with the ones that were here in the spring and then fall practice, I think Odell Beckham has maybe the odds-on shot of maybe getting the most snaps in this game because of circumstances with the injury, with Russell Shepard's unavailability in this game. I think Terrence McGee, less so, but I think he's going to play this year. Lyle Collins, as we mentioned, also due to some injuries, may get quite a few snaps as well. Jarvis Landry, its status is a little bit still up in the air, but certainly was on pace to getting some snaps. And I think Anthony Johnson is going to be in the rotation as that fourth, fifth tackle rotation. But I think certainly Beckham may end up starting and getting a lot of snaps at that Z position because it's going to be he and Wright at the Z position in this game, and so the flanker position. So I think we're going to see some contributions, and Beckham is a guy that's got some big playability that I think could have an effect with some run after catch. That really is a really good friend of a quarterback that's going to need a little help in being able to get a lot of run after catch ability from receivers, tight ends over the middle, and of course the running game backs out of the backfield. Spencer Ware is going to catch the ball a lot too this year out of the backfield.
We remind you, Tigers Roar is live each and every Wednesday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, right here on Pelican Sports TV. If you're catching this on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, you got a replay going, so keep that in mind. We do appreciate many people can watch the replays. Many people in New Orleans on Friday night and in Ascension Parish on Saturdays get this program. New Orleans airs it on WHNO TV channel 20 out of New Orleans at 5 p.m. every Friday. It is a rebroadcast of the Wednesday night show. For complete information or you want to know how you can get it where you're at, pelicanbroadcasting@gmail.com. That's the email address, pelicanbroadcasting@gmail.com. And as we have mentioned, and was got mentioned on the radio by Richard Condon and I today, immediately following the game, 10:30, 10:45, Saturday night, the Phones First WJBO post-game show, the WJBO Pelican Sports TV post-game show, simulcast, a little radio on 11:50 a.m. and WJBO.com. Of course, right here on Pelican Sports TV, immediately following that game. Within minutes, we'll be up on the air taking your phone calls. I'm the host of that show, my co-host Richard Condon for the whole season, although this Saturday Richard will be in Arlington at the ball game. Mike Delicano, TV radio guy here in Baton Rouge, who's very well versed when it comes to football. Mike will sit in with me Saturday night here on the post-game show. Richard will join us via the phone a few times, a lot of other stuff. But most importantly, phones first, your ability to call in and make comments about the LSU game right after it's over with. Phones first. That's what WJBO is known for. And I want to give a tip of the hat to all the people at Clear Channel. There's been numerous meetings, including today. All the people at Pelican, a lot of meetings, a lot of technical issues and hoops to jump through. A lot of people getting together to make this thing happen, as it did last year, but it is happening again. So we do want you to tell people about that. The TV portion of that will replay Sunday morning if you want to catch it, if you miss it Saturday night, right here on Pelican Sports TV. And of course, Pelican Sports Radio, Monday through Friday, from 3 to 4 p.m. on the Score 1210 a.m., thescore1210.com. Podcasts are available of that program later that evening of the same day. And Thursday, each and every Thursday, it's the Chris Landry Show from 2 to 3 p.m. on the Score 1210 a.m. and score1210.com. Chris, quickly, what do you have for the folks in this week's edition of the Chris Landry Show?
A lot of LSU, Oregon. We're going to go through the conference races around the country in college football as I see it, and spend a lot of time on Oregon's spread offense.
And we want to remind you, my coach's shirt tonight, LSU. I got LSU, I got Nike. It's available at Tiger Bait Sports Apparel. Airline Highway in Prairieville. You can visit them online at tigerbaitsports.com. Check them out. They got everything you can imagine from LSU, including this good-looking coach's shirt. They got it in white, gold, purple. I got the black edition on tonight. Visit them online if you can't make it to Prairieville or you're watching online, tigerbaitsports.com. They'll ship these shirts or anything to you. Tiger Bait Sports Apparel. You see their phone number and website address. Again, Airline Highway in Prairieville, right by Frank's Smokehouse. Chris Landry, the Hayes in the barn. As far as Tigers roar goes, it's just about game time.
Well, it is, and it's an exciting time of year. Can't wait to see them tee it up, the Ducks and the Tigers getting after it in Arlington.
And, of course, find us on Facebook at Pelican Broadcasting. Great way to keep up with everything. Pelican Sports TV, known for the hunting and the fishing, outdoors programming, and all the other great stuff. Send us an email. Follow us on Twitter. Go to the YouTube page. We'll have that soccer stuff up there a little bit later. It's all there. We're on the social media. Thanks to the entire staff of Pelican Sports TV, Carter, Chris Landry, Tommy Christ, and everybody else. Have a great evening. We'll talk to you right after the game Saturday night.
Hello, my name is Debbie. Welcome to Debbie's Bridal, a formal affair.
Come see the many great lines we carry in bridal, bridesmaids, mothers, flower girls, tuxes, and more. We also carry over 25 top designer lines in debutante gowns, Mardi Gras, pageant, and prom. Come meet me and my staff with over 30 years of bridal and pageant experience. Debbie's Bridal, a formal affair, Burnside and Gonzales, where service matters.
Our primary fundamental belief is that better ingredients, better pizza is quality, and that's what Papa John's is all about. Nobody does what Papa John's does.
Right now, get any large pizza with your choice of toppings, even our signature specialties, only $11. That's right. Order now at papajohns.com and get any large pizza with any toppings, just $11, only at papajohns.com.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
You're on the same plane.
We'll be on the same plane, regardless.
Yeah, when we need to work. Anything together? Do we know that?
Got it.
Thanks, Dave.
The big, brilliant, thin Samsung Infuse 4G. Only from the network of possibilities, AT&T.